Welcome to Stopped for a While. You've made it right here to the peaceful place on the Fraser Coast after a long Queensland drive. Shoes off, breathe easy and settle in. Here, the stories stretch as far as the highway. The laughter's always close and the truth sometimes goes walkabout. These are the tales of the wanderers, folk you only meet out here. We share them in the golden hour, when the tent is pitched, the caravan's steady, and there's a cold drink in your hand. Did it all happen just like this? Maybe, maybe not. But that's the spirit of the peaceful place. It's half the fun, isn't it?
So Toyota Coaster is a very common small Japanese-built commuter bus, basically. Mm-hmm. An old Falcon station wagon or a Commodore station wagon.
You can park one of them.
You can park one of them.
Gary's been around and tried his hand at all sorts of things. He even spent some time living on Hamilton Island when he wasn't working FIFO. And the best part? His story wraps up with a stint in motor racing, driving a Kia of all things. That story shortly. Julie and Daryl decided to give it another go after their first trip ended with a bang. Literally. Their van got pretty banged up and the whole front end was written off. But they were glad when they came back for round two. This time they had a new van, one with all the bells and whistles. You should see the slide out this and slide out that, the barbecue, the cooking area, even the sink. It was pretty flash. They were still figuring things out when they pulled in, especially the awning. The anti-flap kit was a bit of a puzzle at first, but after a day or so they sorted out. Daryl tried to resist packing up his outdoor kitchen, but eventually he had to give in. It was funny watching though. Then there was Janine, who decided to stop for a while too. She just spent 4 months as a deckhand on a catamaran with a gentleman in his 70s. They sailed from Hervey Bay down to Brisbane and back again. What a trip, and all through summer too. After that adventure, she decided she'd buy herself a car and a swag and spend a night at the peaceful place. Jenny's a sandgroper, a West Aussie for those of you who aren't informed, and a former teacher who missed out on travelling to Queensland back in the 80s. Her plan now? Get to Airlie Beach and then see as much of Queensland as she can. Wishing you safe travels, Janine. Then there was Gary. How would you be? Spending some time on Hamilton Island when you're not working. How good is that? Thanks for coming over.
No worries.
You are from
a little dairy town called Malula, which is on the Sunshine Coast hinterland. Well, everyone knows where Australia Zoo is.
Yes.
So we're about 8 minutes from there.
Nice.
A bit further north.
Bit property?
No, acre and a half.
Just acre and a half, yeah, nothing too major. Because people get mixed up with Malula and Malula Bar.
All the time.
All the time. And
and then a while ago people started calling it Malula Valley to get around that.
Yeah.
And some say it's official, some say it's don't. But
it's what it is.
I know where I
live. Exactly right. So you're on a holiday, decided to come for a drive.
Yep.
Where have you driven to so far in your break? Is this the first stop?
Yeah. Well, we set out, we're only going to come to the Goom and head back home tomorrow. So, so we've been here, 4 nights? Or this will be the 4th night. So.
Yeah. Just a little getaway?
Little getaway, and this would be the 4th or 5th visit to Goom.
Okay.
First time in the bus, though.
Yeah. Have you stayed in this park before?
Not in the park, no.
No.
In a Airbnb just out, literally around the corner.
That's right, yeah. Nice.
So,
you clearly like it up here as it being a peaceful, quiet place, and you brought your dogs.
Yeah.
Big girls.
If they're not welcome, we don't go there. Is our motto.
That's exactly right. Judge a place by how well they welcome a dog.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
So you say you're just going home now. Why did you pick here when you first came here a few years ago? Was it because it was near Hervey Bay, or
No,
a lot of people sort of say, "Oh, Hervey Bay, yeah, it's all right," but we've just come out a bit.
I don't know who put us onto it, but a peaceful, quiet place with easy beach access for the dogs, and going, that's us.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a couple of k's out to the water on low tide, so there's plenty for the dogs to run at, isn't there?
Yeah, they like it. They love it. So
Yeah.
it is as much for them as it is for us, really. If they're happy, then we're happy, right?
Exactly.
Easy.
You're a studier of life now. You gave up the hard yards.
Yeah, I officially retired coming up. It'll be, 2 years in end of June.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do before that? So what was your... Let's go back to the start. So when you left school,
Yep.
what were you?
So year 12, what did I do? I spent 3 months on a small coastal freighter, so merchant navy.
Okay.
I didn't like that. Then I took up, at the age of 18, I took up apprenticeship motor mechanic. Did 11 years of that, including the apprenticeship. That was in Europe. So then we went to another dealership for this was around in the 80s. So, and then in 86 we came out for a holiday for a look around. Mm-hmm. And in 88 we moved back permanently because I was born in Devonport, Tassie.
Okay.
From
So your scar's well and truly healed by now. Sorry, had to say that. Only because the lady that encouraged me to start this podcast lives in Tassie, just south of Hobart.
Okay.
So you're a Devonport boy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you came back to Australia, do some more mechanic work?
What I hadn't really thought about was that once I got here, none of my qualifications were recognised. Zero.
Oh, really?
Really.
Wow, okay.
Not even the basics. I went, wow. Always had an interest in aviation, so we came back with the idea of doing a bit of a trip around Australia before we'd actually settle down somewhere.
Yep.
That didn't work that way at all.
Does it ever?
But we got a four driving a caravan behind it, and we took it up to Bridge and Springs from the Sunshine Coast for a bit of a check-out. And on the way back, I figured, let's just swing past an airport to see what would be involved to start working in aviation, because I wasn't quite prepared to go back and do all the automotive stuff again. Mm-hmm. I figured if I have to start again, I might as well try something different.
Exactly.
So so first stop was Maroochydore. They put me onto this helicopter mob in Caloundra. I went to the helicopter mob, which turned out to be Chopper Line, which was at the time doing a lot of joyrides, helicopter joyrides at the Bicentennial on the Brisbane River.
Oh, right, yeah.
And so went for a chat. Long story short, when I was finished chatting, they offered me a job, which I wasn't quite ready for. So we then had a very condensed trip, basically down to Ballarat to see Nan and Pop. And then I started, I think, about 6 weeks later, started Chopper Line. So that would have been just before Christmas '88. And then from there we moved, so 93, that I started a job on Hamilton Island in the Whitsundays.
That wouldn't have been hard to take, would it?
That was tough.
Yeah, I bet it was.
It was 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Quite busy, big variety of aircraft. It was very interesting. It was a great place. It was a great place to work. Great bunch of people. But it got better. While I was there, I took on a job in Papua New Guinea as a touring engineer. So 4 weeks on, 4 weeks off.
Oh, okay.
And my 4 weeks off were on Hamilton Island because my darling wife Annika was also working on the island, and because of that we could actually buy a small townhouse on the island.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
And that was it?
That was it. We often look back on that time of nearly 7 years. That was probably...
A lot of fun, I would imagine.
A lot of fun.
You probably worked hard, though.
Yeah. Well, while we were away, we did big days, but the time off was good. Like a month on Hemo, not having to go to work and have your own little 19-foot boat sitting in the harbour.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah,
go snorkeling, fishing.
could see exactly
camping.
why it was hard work.
It was hard work.
Did you finish your working career as in the aircraft engineering?
Yeah. So how sort of some people do, some people don't. Like on Hamilton Island, I got my first license on a twin engine machine, which is the next step up, if you like. All the small stuff back then was all covered by a basic set of rules. Quite simple.
Yeah.
Basically, if it wasn't heavier than 5.7 tonne, it went on a group, what they call a Group 1, Group 2 licence, 1 for a fixed wing, 2 for a helicopter, and 19 for a helicopter with hydraulic flight controls. So then you went to the bigger machines, which then became, you would get a licence on that type, on that particular make, model. And as you go on, you add to that, and that makes you more employable, if you like. So the next type was a twin, a machine called a Bell 212 that was operated in Papua New Guinea. That was the next one I got up there. Then we went to a Bell 412, which is another variety of the same brand, which is still now being used as an aeromedical and a SAR EMS machine. Getting back to the timeline, so from Hamilton Island we moved to Karratha, basically in Western Australia. Take up a job there. That didn't work out too well. Switching jobs again and working for another company that I stayed with for 21 years.
Okay.
The last one.
Yeah.
And we worked on one of the main machines was there, a French machine called a Super Puma AS332.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, I went back to the humble Bell 412, which was heavily involved in SAR EMS on the West Australian coast in Perth. And then we had another 2 that were dedicated to either mainly the Air Force, but to a lesser degree Army, to do deployments. So the same thing, aeromedical support in case something went wrong on a military deployment or an Air Force deployment, which I did a lot of towards the end. So the last 4 or 5 years was solely basically doing deployments with one machine, and you'd have a pilot, air crewman, and in some cases you'd have a medic as well, or a doctor, depending on what the contract required at the time.
So your travelling has just continued on. You travelled a hell of a lot
for work
while you were working, and then you still sort of those feet itchy to move and have a look around.
Yeah, we've always when the two of us are travelling, we always say, "Oh, what's around the corner? Let's go and have a look."
Well, that's the best part of it.
Yeah,
it's the adventure, and then when you find somewhere nice,
stay a bit longer.
Sit back, stay a bit longer,
or go back.
This is why we call it stopped for a while.
Stopped for a while
because we stopped for a while here in the peaceful place.
Yeah.
So you have the Toyota.
Yep.
So please describe, because we don't have pictures. I'll take a photo in a moment, but yeah.
Yep. So Toyota Coaster is a very common small Japanese-built commuter bus, basically. Normally has, I think, 18 seats in it. Very popular always has been for conversions to motorhome, because it's big enough to have space for 2-3 people and small enough to fit places. Because basically, especially if you can reverse park it, if you can park an old Falcon station wagon or a Commodore station wagon,
you can park one of them. Did you have it converted?
No, it was converted when I bought it.
Yeah.
I actually spotted it when I was over in Perth for work.
So you got it in Perth and drove it back?
Drove it back.
Yeah. No. And again, back to the Sunshine Coast? Is that's been your home?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, always been out at Malula.
Yeah, so back in 2008 with the employer I retired from, I worked out we sort of introduced into the EBA, the working conditions, that if we wanted, could we work less and share a touring slot, which we called 2 and 6, so 2 weeks on followed by 6 weeks off. So basically you're working 58%.
Oh, yeah.
And that was excellent.
Yeah, well, I bet that was.
Yeah.
I bet that was like semi-retirement.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that worked out really well for both parties.
And yeah, exactly. And the dogs have always been with you.
Dogs have always, yes. If we're travelling,
or whatever dog, but that. Yeah.
pretty
It's
much.
just beautiful.
Just beautiful.
They're wonderful little dogs. Let's say little. They're wonderful dogs. So friendly.
Good doggies.
Good dog. So, did you ever come across anything that was like
Funny, yeah. Unhitching a van, and then the van started rolling downhill by itself.
It's funny you should say that because Barra Bob on my last episode had the lady on her own in a same thing, boomity boomity bump down the hill. So what happened?
Yeah, just didn't have the handbrake on when he took the vehicle off, and it just went down the hill. He didn't smash it, luckily. People taking off when they're still hooked up, or taking off and the awning's still out. Or
Yeah. So we've seen it. We've seen it. TV aerial up, windows open.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Never heard of anybody taking off with the dog still in the van, but hey, that's... Now, I noticed from your shirts last couple of days. Motorsport man?
Motorsport man, yes. Club level motorsport.
So that's... You said you got the Super Sprint series there. So is that like that's the stock car stuff, or is it...
No, it is basically you can run any sort of car you like. Basically, it's run from just outside of town, the town of Warwick in the southeast, just to the southwest of Brisbane.
Yep.
Just out on the outskirts of there is a racetrack called Morgan Park, and they do a sprint series every year. They have A, B, and C. They're identical, but just a different set of dates for each series because different dates suit different people.
Yeah.
And you can run a stock road car if you like, or you can run a full-blown race car. The idea is the cars get put in a category depending on what they are.
Yeah.
Turbo, non-turbo, engine capacity, an open wheeler, whatever it might be. And
There's a category for all of them.
And so what happens is you, depending on what group you're in, you do a standing start or a rolling start. You do 4 laps. In those 4 laps, there's going to be one quickest time. That's the one that's noted.
Okay, so
you're going against yourself, basically. Going
against yourself, not wheel-to-wheel racing or anything. No,
because the budget doesn't allow that, because when it's wheel-to-wheel, it's door-to-door, and that always ends
There's
up...
panels going and...
Always.
So my little story of that, I was born about 15 minutes drive from Silverstone in the UK. We did Silverstone Club every week. The name Martin Brundle comes up. I watched Martin Brundle race before he became a full-time Formula One driver. So it was all that.
Yep.
We went round there one time, and there's this kid, and I say kid because he wasn't much older than me at the time, and he went round in a Ford Escort round the Grand Prix circuit. So it was only allowed once a year in November when it was a bit cooler, so he had to be a little bit slower. He went round and rode off his Ford Escort in the catch fencing. Bang, 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 bang. And then his mates are towing him home as we're driving past him. Some people. So hence why you don't do your door-to-door panel rubbing and stuff.
No.
You do it yourself?
Yep.
What do you drive around in that? Obviously not the Toyota.
Not the Coaster. No, we for quite a few years we ran not anymore, but a Mazda RX-7, a 95 FD RX-7. The brand that I did my apprenticeship with was Mazda in Europe, so hence the rotary thing.
Always loved the rotary of the Mazda, right back to the supercars and the mad Australian Holden and Ford supporter.
Yep.
Oh, Mazda, that.
Yeah.
Mind you, didn't they actually come together nicely when Brocky drove a BMW?
Yep.
They liked that, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
And you do well, all right?
I do okay, yeah.
Yeah?
I've got a few little trophies there sitting at home.
Nice.
Yeah, so and then more recently I've started doing the same thing with a modern car, Hyundai i30N.
Oh, okay.
Which is basically an off-the-shelf car, an everyday drive, which Hyundai basically wanted to have a car that they could take on, mainly for Europe, mainly for the UK was a strong contender, to take on the VW GTI Golf.
Of course,
GTI.
yeah. Yep.
So they came up with the i30N.
Go all right?
Goes very all right. Yeah, it's the only manufacturer that stands by their warranty if you do a motorsport event sanctioned by well, it used to be CAMS, it's now Motorsport Australia,
Yep.
what they call a non-speed event. So a sprint, like I'm doing, they'll stand by their warranty
Wow.
for 5 years.
That's all right.
There's no other, not even the big boys do that, like not even the Porsches and the whatever.
Wow.
You get your 1 year and that's it.
That must be a lot of fun, though.
It's a lot of fun, mate. Yeah, look, they're so strongly supportive of motorsport that Hyundai Australia themselves organise once a year what they call an N-Fest. So they'll go to a given track, and as long as you have an N, whatever model that is, it could be a Kona, which is the small SUV type setup.
Yep.
Or it can be the smaller one, the i20N or the i30N. You can enter.
Wow.
Yep.
Fully sanctioned.
Fully sanctioned.
That's not bad.
Not bad. So everyone's running around there in near new cars. I was there for the one that was 2024 at Morgan Park in Warwick. They had a number of factory mechanics there. They had the service people there. They had the sales people there. You could take new models for a run. They had demos there.
Of course, that's
all of
a
that.
perfect way of selling a car, especially a petrol head that doesn't want to go door-to-door banging.
No. So in order to do that, Hyundai actually hired a engineer by the name of Albert Biermann, and he was behind the M1 BMW project for many, many years. So they call him the granddaddy, if you like.
Okay.
A few others involved now. I actually spoke to the man himself. He's recently retired. He's handed it over now to a fellow called Manfred. The surname slips me. And I also spoke to the Korean head of the entire N division in Korea itself, a fellow by the name of Yoon Park. And I just saw an article he put up only a couple of days ago about how they're still, despite all this push for electric this and electric that, he said, no, we're going to keep going with it's a brand within a brand, if you like.
Yes, of course
and
it
the
is.
following is getting bigger and bigger, so they're going to keep going with it.
And that's the way in for people to have a bit of a run on a racetrack without being completely maniacal.
Yep.
Even though you do probably get them. Yeah.
You can enjoy your car. You don't have to worry about speed traps. If you're half sensible, you won't bend it.
Might leave it with the speed fiend. Thanks for coming over and having a chat.
No worries, mate. Welcome.
Sunrise means it's time to pack up. Tents folded, caravans hitched, everyone shuffling along. But for those who stick around the peaceful place, it's time to watch the dust settle and let the stories buzz around as thick as mozzies at happy hour. That peace never lasts long. Sooner or later, a new storyteller rolls in, looking for a comfy spot to stop and spin a yarn. When they stop for a while, their tales become part of ours, just the way we like it. The story of Mr. Fixer-Up Greg and his wife Christine are for next time. Now, everyone who stops for a while at the peaceful place seems to leave feeling a little chilled out and relaxed. Must be something about the easygoing lifestyle here. The slower pace just kind of gets to you. The only locals who aren't relaxed here are the wildlife. Old mate bush turkey, or a scrub turkey if you like, is over there right now. Right over there. She's building her mound, doing what she does. She never stops, never slows down, but she'll get with the program eventually. Come on, it's time to relax. Let's be honest, if you see someone around here who's in a hurry, they're definitely not local. Normally it's just the hoons, but they go away quickly. Life is just too slow for them here. Stopped for a While is brought to you by Macmouth Media, music by Ben Clayton, and thanks to Rob Laffer, the man at Serenity Caravan Park. Like the stories? Subscribe for free so you never miss one. Find us at stopforawhile.com.au or on Instagram. Maybe drop us a line. Now it's time for another cool drink. Thanks for stopping for a while.